Hi guys, and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron. Something a little bit different today. It is a Saturday afternoon now. It's been about an hour since I've started to try and do this live stream. We've had some technical issues. I can only apologise for those. The computer isn't used to being booted up on Saturday and has to do a little job, so it's not having any of it. But we thought we'd sit down, myself and Alfie. Alfie, of course, been on the channel before now from the Everton Now YouTube channel. You can check out the link in the description. Go and drop Alfie a follow, subscribe, go and give their videos a watch as well. He'll also be doing a watch along a little bit later on today for this game, so go and check out the watch along, get involved in the comments. I won't be doing a watch along in case anybody asks. But before we sit down and just have a little bit of a chat for Burnley, really, obviously, 5:30 kick-off today, Goodison Park, coming up against Burnley, obviously the side that Carlo Ancelotti first faced when he joined Everton Football Club. His debut game as manager was against Burnley. I remember it quite well. It was a difficult game. It was decided by a Dominic Calvert-Lewin goal in the 83rd minute or something like that, and it was a very tough game to watch, certainly for Carlo Ancelotti's first game, and I expect it to be a very similar situation later today. I expect Burnley to make it very difficult for us. I expect Burnley to defend really well, and I expect Burnley to go out to sort of frustrate and probably to get a result ultimately. I said it in our preview yesterday with Callum. This is a Burnley side who, okay, maybe some would say are safe from relegation at the moment, but they're still probably looking over the shoulder. They've still probably got one eye on the teams that are behind them, certainly the likes of Fulham who are playing really well at the moment. So thought we'd just sit down and have a little bit of a chat about the game, really. It won't be a long live stream. We're going to do it a little bit later on when the team news comes out, but I thought, no, you know what, we'll sit down, a little bit of an afternoon chat. Why not? So Alfie, what's happening, mate? How's things? How you doing? And how are you feeling going into this game?
It's going to be frustrating, don't get me wrong. Obviously, you said it was very frustrating off camera with the technical difficulties. You do not want that during the game also, but don't get me wrong. I was on Kieran Lance's channel. Don't forget to subscribe to him. I was showing him the stats against Liverpool when Burnley played Liverpool. Liverpool had 27 shots out of, I don't know how many shots on target, but I remember Nick Pope having an absolute blind out of a game and kept them a clean sheet and just absolutely bossing it, and it won the game for Burnley because they got a penalty, of course, Ashley Barnes scoring it. But yeah, I think it's going to be very frustrating, like you said, the 1-0 Everton with Carlo's first game. I know him. I think it's going to be 1-0 Everton again, but leave your score predictions down in the chat. Hopefully we'll get the 3 points to kick us back up for top 4 place. But hopefully if we draw this or lose this, I think it would be Europa this season. But mate, Champions League, we still want to dream about it, don't we, Cam?
That's it, absolutely. And you're spot on there. This is, for me, the first of 3 games, and I know we've got an FA Cup quarter-final lodged in between them, but this is the first of 3 Premier League games, certainly, that we absolutely have to win. I mean, we play Burnley, and then we play Palace and Brighton after it, and if we want to, have any real aspirations of finishing within the top 4, or, even a European competition, let's just park the Champions League for a second. If we want to be a team that are playing in the Europa League even next season and fighting to, win that competition, games against sides like Burnley at Goodison have to be must wins, and I said it in the preview yesterday. I do respect Sean Dyche and I respect Burnley because they have a set way of playing. Carlo Ancelotti said it in his press conference yesterday. They don't try and make a new style of football. They don't try and invent a new way of playing. They just turn up. They play a 4-4-2 formation. They're very difficult to play against. They can hit teams. They haven't got a lot of quality, and they understand that they're not blessed with the best players in the country. They're not blessed with the most backing by the board either. So Sean Dyche does fantastically well every single season with what he's got, and whether you like his way of playing or not, whether you think it's boring, whether you're entertained by watching Burnley, it doesn't really matter, because I say this about Everton all the time. If Everton win games 1-0 throughout the entire season, but a Fulham fan is sitting in his house saying, "Oh, I don't like to watch this isn't very entertaining for me," or you've got a Chelsea fan who's sitting in London saying, "Oh, I pay £80 a month for Sky Sports and this doesn't entertain me very much," I don't really care, because I'm an Everton fan, and if Everton are going out and winning, as long as we're winning every week, I don't really care how we win, as long as we win. And Burnley are very much that type of team where they don't really care about what other people think as long as they go out and get results. And it's an effective way of playing. It's not a exciting way. It's not a brilliant to watch way, but it's an effective way. And okay, this season hasn't been as good as maybe previous seasons have been, but they're still, again, coming out of that sort of relegation fight now, but they'll still be looking to pick up points. And listen, they've got a couple of things I want to talk about in this team as well. Carlo Ancelotti come out and spoke about Gylfi Sigurdsson and the potential of him signing a new contract. Obviously, myself and Tom sat down and spoke about that a couple of days ago. Carlo mentioned it yesterday. He also talked about John-Philip Gbamin as well. But it's going to be a really, really difficult game, and I'm excited, to be honest. I am excited because I wake up excited for every Everton match day. And I probably shouldn't be excited because every time we come up against sides that we expect to beat at Goodison, we don't win. I mean, there's a load of examples this season of that. You're looking at Fulham at Goodison, Newcastle at Goodison. I mean, I watched a bit of Newcastle last night, and they are dreadful. How we've been beaten twice by them this season is absolutely beyond me. Even West Ham, who were in a decent run of form, you still expect to beat them at Goodison. Leeds, yeah, Southampton away as well at the start of the season. So these are the types of games that we notoriously trip ourselves up in. But on the flip side, I suppose you could look at West Brom last week and say those are the types of games that we notoriously trip ourselves up in. You could look at maybe Southampton, saying those are the type of games. So we absolutely have to win. I mean, the defeat to Chelsea was disappointing. I don't think it was a massive surprise. Chelsea are a very, very difficult team to break down. They're a very difficult team to beat. And it's not the end of the world to lose to a side like Chelsea. Yes, it's frustrating, and yes, I'm not saying it's acceptable, but it's not the end of the world. If we lost tonight, or even if we only took a point tonight, it would be devastating, because if we want to be seen as a serious challenger for top 4 or top 6 or whatever you want to call it. There we go.
Saturday afternoon. There we go. We're back. It wouldn't be a Mighty Blues live stream if there wasn't a reconnection issue. But everything's sort of back now, hopefully. If you are enjoying the live stream, please do hit that like button. Like I said, my computer just isn't having any of this morning, so you'll have to bear with us. Don't forget, by the way, this live stream is sponsored by the Football News 365 app. You can check that out in the description down below. Fantastic app. Keeps you up to date with all your latest Everton news, scores, predictions, all of that good stuff. Top line of the description. Also, check out Everton Now and Alfie. Go and drop them a subscribe. Get involved with all of their videos. So yeah, look, again, this is the type of game that we simply have to be turning up and winning. Carlo mentioned about attacking play and playing a little bit more of an attacking style and having the defence a little bit higher up today, and hopefully that can work in our favour. One thing that maybe does I don't want to say worry me a little bit, but I've got me reservations about it, is that Everton haven't necessarily been great this season when we have been the team that are attacking, when we have been the team that are getting at others, when we have been the team with the majority of the possession. We've been better when other teams have come at us with 60, 70, 80% possession and we've hit them on the counter-attack. Is that something that worries you today, Alfie, or do you just think we should have more than enough quality to turn up and comfortably win this game? I just hope we can take our chances, because the Chelsea game, we did not take our chances in the first half, and look, we were shite in the second half. But let's just move on from that result, and hopefully, possession-wise, look, we had like 30-odd possession against Liverpool, and we took our chances then, didn't we? Yeah. So Burnley will be playing like 7 at the back, like what Chelsea did, but they counter, don't they, very quickly, and they're good at defending. So it depends what type of play Burnley's going to play today, because Sean Dyche, remember when we were linked with him after when Ronald Koeman got sacked or something like that. So it'll be very interesting. But going along what you said with the Leeds, West Ham, Newcastle, and who's the other team?
Well, Fulham,
yeah. But hopefully we can turn those L's to W's next season, because like Carlo said like a couple of weeks ago, we're going to be spending like over 100 million or 100 million on world-class players in the summer. So hopefully next season, I've always said this, next season, Carlo's second full season at the club will be like, hopefully we can get top 4 at least, but it depends how consistent we are, because look, we can turn out to be like a Leicester. We could turn out to be like a Leicester, and be consistent in order. I personally think we've got a better squad than Leicester, but look what they're doing. Even with injuries, they got a scrappy 2-1 win against Brighton. I just want us to be like that, but like you said, I don't care if it's 1-0, 2-1, 5-4 like we won against Tottenham in the FA Cup. I just want W's for like as long as possible.
That's it. As long as we win, ultimately that's all that matters. And I said this, and I understand that, you know, the way in which we've been playing recently maybe hasn't been very good, and if you lose games and you don't play very well, then you know everybody's going to turn around and say, oh well, we haven't been playing very well anyway, and I understand
we have to take it.
That's it. And I understand that in the games against, you know, Southampton and West Brom we weren't fantastic, and then you lose to Chelsea, and you know you're obviously going to get those people that say, well, hang on, we've been poor for quite some time now. I get that, but I completely agree with you, mate. As long as we're winning games of football, and as long as we can keep getting the 3 points, we're not going to sit back at the end of the season and go, remember we, you know, only beat West Brom 1-0 and we were poor, or remember we only beat Southampton 1-0 and we were poor. We're going to look back hopefully and go, those are the types of wins that you know got us into the Champions League. Those are the type of wins that got us into you know, into European football, be it the Champions League or the Europa League. So today is another massive game. Like I said, I'm confident. I'm a little bit nervous, because I'm always nervous when the expectation is on Everton to turn up and win. If we were playing, for example, when we played Chelsea last Monday, I wasn't really nervous because I knew that a very solid team. If we lose the game, you know, again, it's not the worst result because of how you know good they are and how well they set up. If we win the game, it's absolutely excellent. The derby, obviously I was nervous because it's a derby, but you know we've been upset 22 years on the bounce there, so the expectation going into a derby is non-existent really, and the surprise of the result and the performance was absolutely excellent. It's games like this where you were all sitting here, everybody in the live comments, and we were getting the live comments. Massive thanks, by the way. Big thanks to everybody for putting up with the technical difficulties as well. I'm sure you all appreciate that. There's nothing much I can do regarding those, so I've got to put up with it as much as everybody else. So if you're enjoying it, please do hit that like button. If you could subscribe, it would mean a great deal to me. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to share the live stream, try and get as many people involved as we possibly can. But it's these types of games where we're expected to turn up and win, and we're expected to turn up and put a performance in, that make me the most nervous, because notoriously Everton haven't done that, and I just hope that we turn up today and we just play absolutely fantastically well. We play Burnley off the park, do what Tottenham done to them a couple of weeks ago, turn up and just get, you know, a couple of goals early on, and then just go and have a field day and win the game comfortably, because we don't win enough games comfortably. We've won a lot of games this season, and I understand, as you quite rightly said, you know, it's only Carlo's first full season at the club, and he's only had one transfer window, and next season will be massively different, because hopefully we'll have had a lot more money spent and there'll be a lot, you know, more quality of players in the club. So I get that you can't always win games, you know, brilliantly and exceptionally, but again, I just want us to turn up and win a game comfortably. I want to be sitting here tonight in the instant match reaction going, yeah, it was boss that, you know, we wasn't much stress on the game. From the first minute, we were the better team, we were the most comfortable team, and we haven't been able to say that an awful lot recently, so let's hope we can say that anyway a little bit later on tonight. Let's get into some of the comments then, because obviously I really appreciate everybody getting involved. Andy says, hi Cam, would like to see a good performance today from the lads against Southampton and West Brom. We were poor, and all 3 points is the most important thing, but I'd like to see a good performance too. Exactly, just what I was saying, mate. Tazul says, hi lads. Hi Tazul. Ethan says, alright Cam, would you start on Yango? I really wouldn't mind seeing him play. Well, we uploaded the video yesterday where me and Tom sat down and spoke about Onyango and whether he could potentially come in to replace Abdoulaye Doucouré, obviously during his injury. I wouldn't mind seeing Tyler Onyango given an opportunity, to be honest. I think he's a natural, you know, it's difficult to say because he's obviously very, very young, and we haven't seen him other than for 10 minutes at the end of the cup game. We haven't seen him in the first team whatsoever, but even in that 10-minute spell when he come off the bench, he looked so comfortable. He wanted the ball, he wanted to drive with it, he was confident on it. And in the under-23s, you can see he's a level above everybody in the under-23s. He really is. He's so confident, he moves the ball forward, he's good on it, he's got a good passing range, he's quite quick as well. His progressive runs are really good, he's box to box, he gets other players involved in the game. So I don't think we will see Tyler Onyango, because I think Carlo will probably prioritise your likes of your Gomez's and your Davises and your Allans as the senior midfielders, but why not?
He's on the team sheet for a reason, basically.
That's it, and that's because he's impressing in training, and that's because Carlo Ancelotti sees him as a good enough player to be in and around that squad. So why not give him, maybe even if it's 20 minutes towards the end of the game, if we're winning comfortably, and see what we can do. It's very easy us sitting here, isn't it, Alfie, and saying, "Oh, Carlo hasn't given the young players."
This is what we need, though. To be fair, Cam, we need to be beating teams comfortably, because, like, if you look at the other teams, look at their goal difference to ours. Ours is second to none. Yes, it is positive. It's like 405. But if you look at the likes of Chelsea, they're like basically triple the amount of our goal difference. So it is important to get the goal difference, because top four might go on to the end of the season. Yes, we're playing against City, but will they have a full team out by the time they win the league? I don't know.
That's it.
It'll be very interesting to see at the end of the season. But I'm thinking, well, obviously Carlo's saying about Josh King, we might be starting him, will be very interesting as well. So where would we play Richarlison and DCL?
I think it'd be a 3. If Josh King starts, I think it'd be a 3 of Richarlison, Josh King and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And it's the same with Josh King, I suppose, with Tyler and Yango. What I was, if we're performing and we're not performing very well, and we're winning a game, aka Southampton, West Brom, Carlo Ancelotti isn't going to say to Tyler Onyango, right, you've got no Premier League experience, you're still very young, you're still, you're still learning your trade. I'm going to put you on in a game where we're not playing very well, and you're going to go on for the last 20 minutes. Carlo Ancelotti isn't going to risk putting the likes of Tyler Onyango on the pitch if we're not comfortably winning. If we're 4 or 5-0 up today, and I'm not saying we will be, by the way, but if we're 4 or 5-0 up today, imagine it, with 20 minutes to go, you probably will see Tyler Onyango, because there's no risk. He can go on and he can enjoy himself. But
he'll probably bring on Kyle John.
That's what I'm saying. But imagine we were
like that.
That's what I'm saying. But imagine we were 1-0 up, and Tyler Onyango comes on for the last 20 minutes and makes a mistake, and we concede and we drop points in that game. We'll all be sitting here saying, why would you put a young lad on who's got no Premier League experience when we're not comfortable in the game? And we haven't been comfortable in the game for a long time. So I'm not surprised that we haven't seen some of the younger players. But hopefully, as Alfie said, it's the same with Josh King, I suppose. I don't know whether Carlo Ancelotti trusts Josh King enough yet, but I suppose we'll see in a couple of hours whether he's starting or not.
But if he does make a mistake, hopefully Ben Godfrey's learning from his mistake, even though it wasn't his fault at the end of the day.
Yeah.
He had Timo Werner on the other side. It was basically split in half, wasn't he? With Havertz and Timo Werner. He couldn't do nothing about that. But we need backup. Someone needed to cover the space. And even that through ball, whoever played, I think it was Werner or Havertz through for that penalty. Michael Keane has got to be there with Ben Godfrey, because if you look at the West Brom game, he was recovering. He was recovering basically for at least one person. So Ben Godfrey was recovering for Michael Keane. Michael Keane was recovering for Ben Godfrey, which I quite liked. But I think Onyango, obviously he's very young, but he's on the team sheet for the reason. And if he does make a mistake, look, he'll be learning his mistakes from one of the best managers in the world. So we'll see about that.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. But we will go on to talk about Gylfi Sigurdsson in a second and his contact situation. We'll get into the comments then. Cal Blundell says Josh King masterclass. Jason says if Josh King doesn't play soon, it's clear we signed him just to sit on the bench for 6 months cover. Well, that's what I've been saying. I think we need to see him start a couple of games. If we've got a plan to sign him on a permanent deal. Davik says, hey Cam, send me your PayPal. Let me send you some money for a new computer. Love the channel. Thank you very much, mate. Honestly, I really appreciate that. That means a lot. I don't really use PayPal too much, so I'm not too sure how to send a link. There is again, I hate asking for donations, and I never ask for donations, but if you would be so kind, that would mean a great deal to myself, and it would be unbelievable. There's the channel, yeah. There's a little dollar button down below. You should see it. It's a super chat. I think that's the only way I'm sort of aware of any sort of donation. Like I said, I don't ask for donations, but that would be absolutely unbelievable. Thank you very much for that, Davix. Really appreciate it. Matty says he's right, boys. Up the top, he's right, mate. June says beat Burnley, Palace and Villa ×2. Wolves, Sheffield United give the Blues Euro football. All very winnable games and games we should win.
And look, if we bring in some top class players, and if we're playing in the Europa League, why not go and win it?
Yeah. Well, that's the point, isn't it? I mean, we all sat here last summer and said, right, Carlo Ancelotti has brought in Abdoulaye Doucouré, Alan and James Rodriguez. Obviously, we brought in Ben Godfrey, but I don't think any of us were expecting, Ben Godfrey to do as well as he has done. Those 3 players come in without European football, no Europa League, no Champions League, no guarantee of that. We'd just finished 12th the season before. We were absolutely dreadful in the last 9 games of the season. So imagine we finish in a European position. Imagine how many doors that opens for Carlo Ancelotti to bring in players and say, right, we've got Europa League, we've got Champions League, you can come and play in Europe with Everton. Certainly Champions League, it's not something I thought about, mate, but imagine the amount of players that are going to want to come to Everton if we finish in the Champions League and Carlo Ancelotti's managing us.
And also, if we beat City, hopefully we'll win the FA Cup. But is it the FA Cup you going to, like, the Champions League or the Europa League?
I think it's the Europa League, to be honest.
Guaranteed, isn't it?
I think you're guaranteed group stage in the Europa League. Don't quote me on it, though. Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But you get something out the FA Cup either way.
That's it. And if we beat City, like you said, then there's no reason why we can't go on and win it, because they are the best team in it, the best team in the country at the moment. Carl Blunder says we have to be very aggressive. We have to play like we did at the start of the season, play positive. Mr. G says, big win for us today. Let's hope we get after it and put a couple of goals in before half time. Let's hope so. Thomas says, can we get a set-up tour? Maybe something I'll do in the future. Not now, but maybe something I'll do in the future. Leeds and Chelsea still 0-0, says Cameron. And Ian says, should be fascinating to see how Carlo sets up today. King on Yango, 3-5-2, 4-4-2, 4-3-3. Well, again, every time I do a preview, mate, I talk about how it's pretty much impossible to guess Carlo Ancelotti's starting 11. Guess
the rotation he makes. It's like all over the place, because we haven't got Doucouré, because he runs our midfield with alongside Alan. Yeah. So I'm thinking we might be playing a 4-4-2. This was my predicted 11, and Kieran Shan will go and check that out. I think we'll be playing a 4-4-2, but it wouldn't surprise me if one of those formations we'll be playing, because you never know until half 4.
That's it, mate. That's it. And I was watching the Starting 11 show. I watched Toffee TVs and I watched the Toffee Blues, and Greg on the Toffee Blues said it's he said it's pretty much impossible to guess Carlo Ancelotti's starting 11, to guess Carlo Ancelotti's tactics, and he said, how refreshing is that to say when, under Marco Silva, and that's not just picking Marco Silva out, by the way, but under Marco Silva, we could sit here on game previews and we could guess the starting 11 every single week. I must have got it right, and that's nothing to do, Cam knows his stuff, but I must have got it right on a plethora of occasions, just because you knew it was going to be Garner and probably Gomez sitting in there with Sigurdsson in the midfield. You'd have Richarlison in there, you'd have Meenan and Keane. You could guess the starting 11 every week. Bernard would be in there, Now, I can't remember the last time I correctly guessed a predicted starting 11 for Carlo. In fact, I can't remember the last time Everton played an unchanged team, to be honest. And I like that. I like the fact that we can't sit here and we don't know. I like the fact that me and Alfie aren't sitting here this morning going, well, we know he's going to play this formation. We know he's going to play these players. We know he's going to play this tactic. Because that means if we can't predict it, if we can't talk about it, the opposition can't do that either. And that was ultimately the downfall of Marco Silva as the Everton manager, is he become so predictable. Everybody knew what he was going to do. Everybody knew the way in which we played. And if you could work throughout the week, if you were an opposition team, all you have to do Monday to Friday is work throughout the week on how to play against the 4-2-3-1, how to defend against Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin and your Sigurdsson.
It's like Sheffield United. They finished like 8th. We stopped them finishing in Europe, didn't we? And look where they are now.
Exactly.
You're just playing the same way, aren't you?
It becomes predictable.
But Carlo's always got a plan A, B, or C.
Absolutely.
So it's always playing man games because of the injuries and stuff like that, which he loves to do, which I quite love. But hopefully nothing less than 3 points would make our Saturday night boss.
That's it, mate. That's it. Well, let's talk about Gylfi Sigurdsson for a second then. If you're enjoying, by the way, please do hit that like button. It only takes a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Share the live stream. Try and get as many people involved as we can. Carlo come out yesterday. Obviously, there's been questions surrounding Gylfi Sigurdsson's future. We know he's out of contract in 2022, I believe, next summer. And Carlo had come out. There was a rumour a couple of days ago as to state that Everton will listen to offers for Gylfi Sigurdsson. And Carlo come out yesterday. Bear with me a second. Let me get it up. According to Paul Joyce, who is a very reliable journalist, he said Everton are to offer Gylfi Sigurdsson a new contract in the summer. Carlo Ancelotti has said we are going to talk to him to renew the contract. If he is happy to stay here, we are happy to keep him. Again, basically, there's no surprise there really. I think Carlo Ancelotti likes Gylfi Sigurdsson. And I think he likes him for a number of reasons. A, because he's consistent in terms of he's pretty much always there. The ironic thing about this is that he mightn't be fit today to play. He might have picked up an injury, but I think he's only missed something like 3 games since he's been at Everton through injury. He's very consistent in terms of being available for games, and he's a leader. He'll always play in the positions that he's asked to play in. To be fair, and look, he can't defend. I've got a bottle of water next to me.
Remember that phone game?
Exactly.
Jesus
Even
Christ.
the City game, he was asked to do the defensive role, and like I said, I think this bottle of water next to me can defend better than Gylfi Sigurdsson. But he still, nevertheless, he went there without arguing, without throwing his dummy, and he went and he done the role, and okay, he didn't do it very well, but obviously, he didn't argue with Carlo. He just went and done it. As an attacking player, as a creator, he's had a decent season this season, so it doesn't surprise me that Everton will look to renew Gylfi Sigurdsson's contract. Is it the right decision financially for a lad who's 30 odd years old and on probably over £100,000 a week? I don't know. What do you think on it, Alfie? How do you feel? Would you personally give Gylfi Sigurdsson a new contract?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
If you were saying like at the start of the season and last season, it's a defo no for me, because last season he was dreadful, but the season before that he was banging in goals. Absolutely. But listen, he's starting to pick up his form back, isn't he, under Carlo?
Yeah.
But it depends what he wants, basically, because like he's 30 odd and his career's about to end soon, isn't it? So it would be good for squad depth, don't get me wrong, but would you want like a 100,000 player sitting on the bench who's 30 odd as one of the squad depths in your team? Well, I don't know. So it depends what the board and everyone thinks about it.
That's it. And ultimately it depends how Gylfi Sigurdsson feels as well. Gylfi Sigurdsson might sit down and say to Carlo, well, look, you want me to sign a new deal? You're happy with me? Am I going to be playing 25, 30 games next season? And Carlo might say, well, no, because James is, we want James to be more involved next season. Hopefully he can return to 100% fitness, so he's going to be in there. We're looking at signing maybe another attacking, maybe a right winger, maybe another attacking player who plays along the front three, so he'll probably be in there ahead of you. So we want you to sign a new deal, but you're probably going to be having less games. And Gylfi might say, well, if that's the case, no, I'd rather leave and go and play somewhere where I know I'm going to be playing week in, week out, maybe a Brighton or a I don't know, Palace or somewhere like that. So I think it ultimately all comes down to the player as well. It's a little bit of a worry financially for me. I mean, again, he's had 4 seasons at Everton. First season he was decent, but he was played out of position. I think he was played on the left wing for the majority of it, and he's not a left winger. Second season he was excellent. That 18-19 season under Silva, he was absolutely unbelievable. Last season he may as well have been sat on the couch watching the game next to me for the majority of it, because he was just abysmal. And this season he's had a decent season. He has had a decent season, but still, sometimes, Alfie, in my opinion, you'd have to shake hands with players and say thanks for your time, thanks for your service, but in the way in which the club are going, in the future of the football club, we need to move on from Gylfi Sigurdsson. But again, it is difficult. It's yes and no, because he's a good player to have around. He's a professional player. He's always turning up, and like I said, fitness isn't really an issue with him. He doesn't have many injuries, and he can still create opportunities. He's proven that this season. 15 goal contributions, 9 assists, which I think might be the most assists in this current Everton squad. So he's a useful player to have. But you look at the financial implications. You're looking forward in the future.
But it's obviously we've got 7 players out on loan, haven't we? The likes of Schenk, John Joe Kenny, all of them garbage.
Yeah,
we need to be selling them, hopefully, but we're still saving money at the end of the day. So
yeah, absolutely.
If we don't sell the players, I think Sigurdsson has to go personally. But I want Sigurdsson to stay if all of our garbage players are basically gonna go.
Well, yeah, that's it. And if you were to say to me, right, Gylfi Sigurdsson stays and is an impact player, maybe off the bench, or plays 10, 15 games in a season and gets involved in a few goals, and he's not...
2 more years would do me, to be fair.
That's it. Well, it's again, I suppose we'll have to weigh up at the end of the season if we finish in a European competition as well, because if we finish in the Europa League or the Champions League, then we need as many quality players as we can, and maybe Gylfi Sigurdsson, maybe Carlo will look at it and think, you know what, if we sell him, we're going to have to replace him anyway, so we may as well keep him here, at least for maybe a season, maybe 2 seasons, give him an extension to his contract. But again, it's difficult because we give him an extension to his contract and then he just completely falls off next season. Then the questions are, why would you give a 31-year-old a new contract on $100,000 a week? It's clear he's not got a long-term future at the football club, but I think he's been a decent servant for Everton, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think his price tag, Tom made a really good point in our video the other day. He said the worst thing to happen to Gylfi Sigurdsson in regards to Everton is that 50 million price tag, because everybody holds it against him. And I mean, Gylfi Sigurdsson didn't say, I'm worth 50 million. Everton, at the time, decided to pay 50 million pound for a player we shouldn't have paid anywhere near that. In fact, when Swansea said we won over 40 odd million, we should have said, nah, you know what, and in this day and age with Marcel Brands, we'd have probably signed Gylfi Sigurdsson for 15, 20 million, and with all
I think they went down that season, didn't they?
Yeah.
Don't know, but I think it was 16-17 season they went down, and then the summer came, obviously, so...
And they haven't been up since.
I think they went down, and then they wanted the price up, didn't they? So,
that's it, and maybe that just shows the bad recruitment of the club at that time. Like I said, if under Marcel Brands now, there's not a chance we'd have paid that much money for Gylfi Sigurdsson. In fact, we'd have probably signed him for a lot less, and if we're sitting here saying, well, Gylfi come in for 15 million, he's had 4 seasons, 2 of them have been poor, the other 2 have been very good, and this one so far has been alright as well, then I think we wouldn't hold it as much. But it's that 50 million price, like you expect a 50 million pound player, but ultimately, again, that's not down to Gylfi, I suppose. That's down to the club deciding to pay a ridiculous amount of money when we shouldn't have paid anywhere near that much money. So again, I suppose we'll have to wait and see what happens. I think ultimately for me, it all depends on whether we get in a European competition or not, because we're going to need a much bigger squad. Carlo also spoke yesterday about Jean-Philippe Gbamin as well. He said that basically that we're not going to see him in the next few games, but the hope is that we'll see him before the end of the season. He's had a long injury, and we just have to be patient and get behind him. I know there's the typical, who is Jean-Philippe Gbamin shout, etc. And I get it's just a little bit of fun, but this is a lad who, let's not get it twisted, this is a lad who has gone through some absolutely horrid times since he's been at Everton. Let me just remind everyone, by the way, Jean-Philippe Gbamin, I think, had something like maybe 15 days injured in his last 4 clubs over 4 or 5 years. He hadn't had a big injury before. It's not like we signed this. I think there's this misconception with some fans is to think that we signed Jean-Philippe Gbamin as an injury-prone player, and it's no surprise that he's been out for 2 years. It's not. We signed Jean-Philippe Gbamin, and he had a better injury record than probably any of our midfielders at the club. He hadn't been injured whatsoever in his previous clubs. He come into Everton. Obviously, we've seen him twice. He picked up one of the worst injuries.
Watford and
Palace was one of them as well.
Yeah.
He picked up one of the worst injuries you can get as a footballer. He then was coming back to fitness, got another absolutely dreadful injury, then was coming back and then picked up another knockback. And I understand that it's frustrating, and I understand that, again, it's difficult, but Jean-Philippe Gbamin is going to be like a new signing, and I think Jean-Philippe Gbamin will come back to Everton, and I think he'll play for Everton again. Whether it'll be before the end of the season, I don't know. But Carlo was asked about midfielders in his press conference, and he said it all depends basically on Gbamin. If Jean-Philippe Gbamin can't return to fitness and can't be at that level, then yes, we might be in the market for a midfielder in the summer. If he can, then we'll be absolutely fine. I think he'll return. I think we'll see him in an Everton shirt again, and he will be like a new signing, won't he, mate? He'll be like a brand new signing.
Yeah. And also, don't get me wrong, he was like one of our Idrissa Gana replacement, wasn't he? And we was going to get Idrissa on a loan deal, but I don't know what happened to that in January. We were linked with him quite a few times. I wouldn't mind Idrissa to be back. We would have all loved him to be back, don't get me wrong, but hopefully he can stay fit. He can come back from his horrid injury since Watford in 2019. 2019, and that was his home debut, don't get me twisted, but as you say, he wasn't injury prone at the time, and obviously hopefully he'll be back and he'll be good as well. And where would Andre Gomez be? This is the future now of Everton. So hopefully we can get these players out once players are coming back from injury.
Absolutely, absolutely. And ultimately, we have to support John-Philip Gbamin. I mean, this isn't a lad who decided to have 4 of the worst injuries you can get in football. This isn't a lad who turned around and went, you know what, I can't be arsed playing, I'm going to get an injury. This is a lad who has had one of the worst times that a footballer's had in my recent memory in regards to injuries and coming into a new club and playing in a new league and you know, obviously, like I said, haven't been out for 2 years, hasn't trained properly for 2 years. Carlo Ancelotti hasn't seen him properly train, so we have to back him, we have to get behind him, we have to show him the support, and this is a lad who is a good footballer. He's big, he's physical, he's demanding in the midfield, he's comfortable on the ball, so we need to get behind him, we need to support him, and we need to be patient. Ultimately, we've been patient for 2.5 years. I think now we know it's sort of there's an end to there's a light at the end of the tunnel, if you like, and there's a return, not a return date for John-Philip Gbamin, but there's a return sort of, you can see that there's some point in the future where he's going to return. Carlo said before the end of the season. I think now we're starting to get, well why aren't we seeing training videos of him, why aren't we seeing training pictures? We just need to be patient with John-Philip Gbamin. We need to give him as much time as he needs to return, to recover, and then hopefully he can come back.
And not to rush him back.
Not to rush him back, because Marco Silva tried to rush him back, and you know, he picked up another serious injury, and then we didn't see him again. So no, I agree absolutely completely, and I'm full of support for John-Philip Gbamin now. I really am, because ultimately it's not his fault he's picked up injuries, and he'll want to return as much as any of us. You know, we might be sitting here saying, oh, can't wait for Gbamin to return, or when's Gbamin going to return? I guarantee you there's not one human being on this world that wants to return to playing football more than that lad does, because he's a professional footballer and he's been sat out, not being able to play for a long time. It must have been so detrimental to his physical and mental health in terms of the injury, so we simply have to get behind him. G. Bammer says injuries are putting us in a bad spot. Ian says I give him he says John who, just the way I pronounce it, Jean Philippe, however you want to say it. No, injuries I've been
all over the field, actually.
Exactly, mate, exactly. And
we've had a Lucas Steen carded, and he got injured for 2 months. We've got Decore out for 8 to 12 weeks, which is absolutely it's devastating, to be fair, mate. Who else have we had out? Richarlison, Allen, just all of those players we're missing, aren't we?
Yeah. Who
we miss, basically,
and we don't hear Carlo Ancelotti moaning about it. I think there's a stat that says Everton have had something like the most key players out for the longest amount of time, or something like that. I know other teams have probably had more individual injuries, but you look at like Alfie's just quite rightly said, the injuries that we've had. Alan was out for 3 months, Luca Dean out for 2.5 months, needed an operation, Decore out for 10 weeks. It's not like we're getting injuries where players are out for a couple of games
in one spot.
In one spot. It's not like we're having these players that are out for like a week though, or a week and a half. They're out for months on end. So it's devastating. And Hammers, obviously, who's still out and has had injuries for quite some time now. So ultimately, it's part of football, and you have to put up with it, don't you? And again, we've done that, and we have to put up without Decore now, and it'll be interesting to see how we set up today. Carlo spoke about a couple of players playing in midfield as well. I think he said in his pre-match notes that no one can do that Decore role, but we can change system and make it work. I think he said Mason Holgate can play in midfield, Tom Davis can play there as well. So it's going to be really interesting. So just to finish up then, Alfie, mate, before we finish off, big game tonight, mate. Gotta win it. What are you going for? You're going for a 1-0, but do you think it'll be comfortable? Do you think it'll be difficult? How are you feeling?
I think it'll be difficult from start to finish, but if we get in the rhythm, I think it'll be comfortably. I'm still going with a 1-0. I reckon it'll be like a 1-0 game or a thrashing, but hopefully it's a 1-0 Everton, but it could go the other way.
Yeah.
If we don't be careful. But hopefully we can be consistent like Leicester, basically, because they've got injuries and they got a 2-1 win against Brighton, haven't they? Yes, I know Brighton are fighting for relegation, but they're still fighting like Fulham. Fulham might be staying up.
Exactly, Fulham.
Newcastle might be going down.
Yeah.
But, honestly, it's going to be really tough, I reckon. I'm going with 1-0 Everton with, say, Richarlison.
I'll take that, mate. I'll take that all day. Gamma says, if we have Mina today, it'll be an easier game. Hopefully. Jab says, are you going to have the same love for Delphcam, who would have a mental health problems on an 100k a week? You know, again, there's a difference with Fabian Delph, and that's because those games that he has played, he spent most of his time arguing with fans on social media.
Yes.
So there's, I just think Delph has been a bad signing. And plus, he hasn't had the injuries Jean-Philippe Gbamin has either. But you know what? There you go.
Bad spirit.
Yeah. Gamma says same 1-0 Blues. Ian says 352-0. Come on, you Blues. Let's show me. No, sorry, he says 352, 2-0. Come on, you Blues. Sorry, Ian. I thought you were saying 350 to 2-0.
Jesus.
Jab says 3-1 to Everton if we get shots on goal. Well, hopefully. Well, anyway, we'll finish it up there then. Alfie, massive thank you.
Boss.
Don't forget to go and check out Everton now. They'll be doing a watch along for the game. I think it's starting at 4:15. 5:15.
5:15.
5:15.
Yeah. And thank you for having me on today, Cam. Much appreciated. Hopefully, we can hit as many subs as we can by the end of the month, basically.
Obviously, yes.
And hopefully, yeah.
Definitely, mate. Go and check out Everton now. It's an unbelievable Everton YouTube channel. Alfie, Tom, Kieran, who's on there. Go and check out Kieran Rance's channel as well. Unbelievably, great, lads who just do love Everton Football Club as much as I do, as much as we all do, and make content on it. Link is in the description.
Hopefully we'll be back in grounds and all. I know there won't be no watch along, but hopefully we can meet up someday.
Definitely, mate. Once we're back at Goodison, I've got a lot of plans for when we're back at Goodison, mate. Let's just hope so. Go and check out Everton now and Alfie in the description down below. Give them a subscribe. Fantastic content. Brilliant match preview as well ahead of this game, so you can check that out in the next couple of hours before the game. If you've enjoyed this live stream, something a little bit different, don't know how many of these pre-match streams we're going to do, but maybe we'll do more in the future. If you've enjoyed it, please do leave a like. Massive thanks to everybody in the live comments for watching. Really do appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Check out the Football News 365 app in the description down below. Share the video if you've enjoyed. If you're watching the YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comments before the game, and we'll try and get involved with as many of them. Massive thanks for watching. Paul says 3-0. Hopefully, mate, I'll take that all day long. Listen, for me, as long as we win the game, I'm happy. But if we could go out and put in a decent performance and actually be dominant,
get like the goals up, because we desperately need it. But I don't care if it's a scrappy 1-0 Everton, as long as our main task is 3 points, not unless. That's it. Let's go out there and win the game.
That's it. I couldn't agree more. This is why you should check out Everton now in the description, because Alfie has just took the words right out my mouth. I couldn't agree more. We've just got to win this game. If we want to fight for Europe, Champions League, Europa League, these are the games we need to be winning. Anyway, obviously we'll be back for the instant match reaction and the player ratings after the game, so don't forget to check those videos out. If you've enjoyed this one, leave it a like. Massive thanks to everybody for getting involved, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.